All right, thanks everybody for coming out this evening, and welcome to the Planning Commission of the City of Moreno Valley. I now call this meeting to order July 13th, 2023 at 6:01 p.m. May we have a roll call, please? Oh, I didn't know she left.
Commissioner Ray Baker has an excused absence. Commissioner Joanne Steffen.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Omar Kobian.
Here.
Chairperson Alvin Dejanay.
Present.
Thank you.
Commissioner Steffens will lead us in the Pledge of
Please
Allegiance.
stand. Over your heart. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move into the approval of the agenda. I guess we have a motion and a second. Okay.
I'll make a motion to move item number 3. Let's go ahead and can we move that up? I got a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. I have a motion from Commissioner Cobian to move item number 3 to the first position. Okay, and a second by Commissioner Steph.
And approve the
First
remainder of the agenda? And approve the remainder of the agenda?
And approve the remainder of the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay. Electronic vote there. Okay, the motion does carry. Before we hear public comments this evening, I ask and encourage everyone participating to keep their comments respectful towards others, especially towards individuals speaking. I embrace and support the First Amendment right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting and share his or her views about issues concerning our city. But we can accomplish that more as a city and as private citizens by being civil and respectful toward one another in this meeting. During the public comment period for each item, as well as during the public comment period for items not on the agenda, each member of the public who has signed up to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. Any person wishing to address the commission on any matter, either under the public comment section of the agenda or scheduled items or public hearing, must fill out a request to speak available at the door. The completed form must be submitted to the secretary prior to the agenda item being called by the chairperson. In speaking to the commission, members of the public may be limited to 3 minutes per person, except for the applicant for entitlement. Excuse me. The commission may establish an overall time limit for comments on a particular agenda item. Members of the public must direct their questions to the chairperson of the commission and not to other members of the commission, the applicant, the staff, or the audience. With that said, the next item is public comments, not on the agenda. Are there any speakers?
No speakers.
All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of the consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by a motion unless a member of the commission requests that the item be removed for separate action. Items withdrawn for report discussion will be heard after the public hearing items. Questions or comments from the public on the consent calendar matter will be limited to 3 minutes per individuals and must pertain to the subject under consideration. At this time, would any commissioner like to pull an item of the consent calendar for a separate vote? Do we have any public comments for items on the consent calendar?
No public items.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the consent calendar. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is non-public hearing items. And at this time, we have no items. All right, so let's see here. We're going to move on to the public hearing items. So since we had a little juggling here in our public hearing items, the first item is actually item number 3, which we moved to item number 1. The applicant is requesting approval of a commercial office and retail development with several buildings on approximately 8.4 acres. Do we have a staff report?
The staff report this evening will be presented by Senior Planner Julia Dakota.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. The project includes a master plot plan for the overall development of the project site of 8.4 acres, and it includes 3 additional plot plans along with the master plot plan for retail and office buildings, and 3 conditional use permits for the driveways, the drive-throughs, fueling station, and the convenience store, and also proposes a tentative parcel map. The project site is located on the northeast corner of Nason Street and Cactus Avenue in the city's downtown center district, which allows for multiple uses as proposed. Properties to the north are currently vacant land within the downtown center district, and properties to the east and south are zoned residential agricultural 2, RA2, with existing single-family development and some vacant land. To the west is the Riverside University Health System Medical Center and medical services buildings with vacant land to the southwest, also zoned within the downtown center area. The master plot plan provides for the overall site design, which includes the ingress and egress and internal driveways, parking, development, landscaping, and all off-site improvements. Included in the master plan are the various uses along Nason Street frontage. The commercial uses include 2 fast food drive-through restaurant pads, a fueling station with a convenience store, and an 8,000 square foot retail and or restaurant use type building. On the easterly side is a 3-story, 1 3-story office, medical office building commercial with approximately 40,000 square feet, and 2 medical office buildings of approximately 16,000 square feet each. Access to the site will be from 2 driveways on Nason Street, both right in and right out, and 2 driveways on Cactus Avenue, one of which will be full access. North of the corner on Nason will be the Riverside Transit Bus Stop, which is currently already in place. Parking has been calculated based on the various uses within the development to meet the municipal code requirements, and in addition, reciprocal access for all the entire project is required. As shown on the conceptual landscape plan, landscaping is provided along the perimeter of the entire site and within the development. There is a 12-foot deep landscape planter on the eastern property line with approximately 140 feet between the property line and the 2 buildings, and approximately 86 feet between the residential property to the east and the 3-story building. Several areas within the site design also provide for landscape areas and water quality treatment areas between the buildings that will be landscaped and enhance the connectivity between the buildings on the site. Landscaping along the frontage of the project on Nason Street and Cactus Avenue will be 20 feet deep with street trees, on-site trees, plants, ground covers, all designed per the landscape requirements in the Municipal Code Section 9.17. Okay, we have the elevations here for pads A and C. The designs of the buildings present a modern influence architectural style with a combination of stucco, plaster, brick veneer, metal, and spandrel glass in various colors and textures throughout the project. There are tower elements and various wall finishes with different wall planes that break up the massing, which adds to the focal points of the buildings. The retail building for Pad B. This is the medical office building. And this is the 3-story office building. And this is the 7-Eleven, which shows four-sided architecture using all the elements. Prior to this evening's hearing, staff received several comments after the project was published, and they've been provided to you this evening. At this time, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2023, adopting the ISM&D and the mitigation measures, and adopt the Resolution 2023-33 to approve the project. Staff and the applicant's team are here and available to answer any questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any commissioner questions for staff?
Question, well, maybe a couple. The gas station, was there a proximity study done on gas stations within the area? I know that area doesn't really have too many. I know there's one on Alessandro and that Moreno Beach. But aside from that, I think the nearest one way across would be Iris and Paris, I think. And then the nearest, was there a study done for gas stations in the is there analysis done for every time there's a gas station?
No, there is not, and there's nothing within our municipal code that would actually require such an
Like a certain
analysis to be done.
distance between, no?
No, there's no separation requirements within our municipal code for gas stations from, other uses or from each other. So that's not something that we would consider, nor would we require of the applicant, part of a proposal.
Okay.
This is zoned for
Mixed use.
mixed use, right? It's not zoned for residential or,
Residential would be a permitted use on this property as well, because it is the downtown center. But ultimately, given its location being prime at the corner of Nason and Cactus, being that there's already existing medical within, directly across the street, it is considered a compatible use with the office uses that they're proposing here, as well as the commercial retail directly adjacent to the street.
yeah. My thing is they're not asking for a zone change. It's permitted what they're putting on here.
Correct. It's permitted and it meets or exceeds all development standards.
Okay.
I just caught a little bit on the distance between the 3-story and the existing residential. What was it, 180 feet, was it, something like that?
The 3-story is 86 feet, which exceeds the requirements. The requirements for the district require it to have a 10-foot setback and there's no height limit in the zone, but they are exceeding the setback area on the east side for all the buildings on that side.
And my understanding is that the gas station is actually on the east side of the property, which would be next to, I guess, the medical center.
The gas station would be on the corner, directly on the corner.
Right here. What is that, pad A, it looks like? No, pad D.
The gas station, the 7-Eleven building as designed is actually placed at the corner with the gas pumps actually to the interior, which is
That's
traditionally aesthetically more pleasing.
Yeah,
Right,
that's different.
okay. How many
How many
pads?
pumps?
Looks like there's 6 pumps, so that would probably be 12 stations.
Any other?
And now this gas station, is it it's obviously designed for cars and trucks, but it's not meant for, aside from the fueling trucks that would come in, it's not meant for big rigs or doesn't have any natural gas that would have box trucks in there, would it? Like Class B type trucks in there?
It's not designed for that.
Thank you.
You're gonna have charging stations on there also?
They do have some charging stations, EV vehicle stations, and then Title 24 of the building code requires a certain amount for the project.
On those EV stations, would those be part of the 7-Eleven area or per building? Those commercial buildings, right? There's a requirement for,
Right, that
Per
would be per
building?
the building code.
yeah.
The site plan shows several of them with the actual convenience store, and then shows a couple different rows of them in the other parking lot. Remember, the parking lot is also reciprocal access, so the parking lot would be open to anybody.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, one more. That private street, are they building that with that roundabout section? Because I see another section like a curb. So is the developer building that street?
They're building their portion of it. They worked with transportation. I can let transportation talk about that. They can't build the full amount because the northern portion of it is not on their property, and they have not been given access. And that's the reason why it's a right-in only. You can't go left, you can't go right out of that. It's right-in only.
But you can still come in and out, though. It looks like it has a center medium, right? Am I looking at it right? Is that a center medium in that street?
Can we have Public Works please address this?
The private street has no medium, and because of width limitation, and we discussed with the fire department, we decided this is a one-way eastbound only.
Okay.
Okay, I'm confused. Okay, so that once they come in, then they're coming into the project area then?
That's correct.
Okay.
Can they exit from there?
No,
Well, it's a little confusing because it looks like there's arrows going in and out.
Right at the entrance.
Yeah, right at the entrance.
So this, ultimately, what we are sharing here is the landscape plan. Julia, would you mind clicking through to the site plan and the reference slides? So here's a little bit different detail. The landscape plan was showing the ultimate. This is the actual construction here. The reason we used the other slide is it's definitely more visual, easier to read. That's why we used it as our site plan this evening.
Okay, so it doesn't look like there's direct access going straight off the street, straight into where you would pump gas then. You'd have to actually enter the site property, navigate your way through to get to,
That's correct.
okay, so it's kind of tucked away inside of the project area there.
The desire of the city ultimately is to see that to be a throat, but it needs to serve the northern property as well. You know, and that will come as part of a future development application.
Okay. Would the applicant like to speak?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Planning Commissioners. My name is David Slauson. I'm with Winchester Associates in Moreno Valley. We've been located here for over 40 years. Most of our work has been done here, probably 700 different projects, small, large, lot surveys, elevation certificates, et cetera. First of all, I want to thank staff. They've helped process, review everything, make sure everything was done correctly, all of the environmental studies, and there were a dozen of them, almost. I think we have a team here today. I'm not sure if our biologist is here or environmental planner, but we have all the studies available. Ian Parks, our traffic engineer, Harris Shapiro, and Richard Dell from RED Architects, and Craig Johnson with Hewitt Zollers is the civil engineer. I thought this project was a positive contribution to the immediate area and to even a larger area. There's a huge need for the services. Riverside University Health System has currently, I think, 2,700 employees, and they're expanding. Kaiser's a mile down the road, a mile and a half, and I'm not sure how many employees they have, but they're expanding too. And so there's a need for, especially the medical and office, retail, office building. And plus we have the World Trade Center that's being developed eventually. This project not only provides the gas, but food and coffee, and there's a restaurant. I'm particularly happy with this project because of the other amenities it provides. It's really pedestrian attracting design. So it's creating an atmosphere. It has paseo areas, it has patio area, additional parking spaces for bicycles. So we'd like to encourage that. People coming from the hospitals, doctors, nurses, people that are going to be working at those facilities to enjoy the amenities. Took special care. I mean, we've got spaces for carpools, designated spaces for vehicles for carpools, electrical and low emissions vehicles. There was some discussion about the proximity of the gas station, and I understand where that's a concern. The risk health assessment that was conducted for this project, we do not exceed the South Coast Air Quality Management District threshold, which is 10 cancer incidents per million people. The highest we have is 1.91 per million for 70-year exposure. And when they do that calculation, they assume that the person is outside for 70 years, when in fact, most families, people are in their home about 87% of the time, or over 85% of the time. So they'd have obviously less exposure, but this is worst case. So the threshold is 10, according to the South Coast Air Quality Management District. We're well below that. And we can go into further detail. We'll address any other questions that come up. And I think we're going to have, is it Richard Dell? Richard Dell is going to speak about the site layout and the architecture.
Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Chair, Planning Commissioners. Thank you so much for letting us come and make a presentation to you this evening. It is our honor to be here and represent Danny Simons. Unfortunately, the landowner could not be here tonight. He had other conditions he had to deal with. But he also wanted to have us convey to you and to staff the time and energy put into this project by staff and to bring a fully vetted project to the city of Santa Moreno. As David Slauson has said, there's been an inordinate amount of studies required for environmental clearances. The IS, and I think you've got copies in your packages, goes into great depth. And as he said, there's more than a dozen studies that were done, and they were recently updated 3 months ago. So the studies that you have in front of you currently represent the environmental impact that this project will have on the community. It's our humble opinion as architects and planners, when we looked at this site 4.5 years ago with Danny Simons, and we've been working with staff for 4.5 years, this finally comes to your purview. You get an opportunity to take a look at it, but it's been in the making for 4.5 years. In doing so, a variety of different uses were considered. Residential, there was more retail considered for that. However, after looking at the community and looking at the needs for the immediate communities, such as services, food, things of that nature, what would make sense that would be a compatible design for the community. And that basically vetted out to, we need some more medical support systems, we need fueling, we need food, and we need some other services. So what you see tonight in front of you is a very concerted effort on the entire team part, civil engineers, landscaping, us, Davis Lawson with regard to community outreach, things of that nature. This is a plan that's been in the making for 4.5 years, and this is the culmination of what we believe best serves the community. And in doing so, there might be a couple of impacts, such as the gas station, that people are concerned about, and we understand that. And that's why it's on the corner. That's why 7-Eleven reversed its position, put the pumps back off the corner, put the building on the corner. These are things that we're doing throughout a variety of different cities, and they're received well. Now, this gas station is not a large gas station. It's not something you would see at Costco or Walmart or something like this. This is a very community-oriented gas station. It has 6 pumps, basically 12 outlets. That's relatively small. It is about 400 feet away from the residential side on the east side, and about 200 feet away from the residential side across the street on Cactus. As David Lawson mentioned, the environmental report specifically dealt with, on page 22 and page 23, deals specifically with the impact of what those benzenes and all those carcinogenic, potential carcinogenic components are of fueling. State of California requires double design tanks. They require vapor reclamation and air gaps. So maybe throughout the country, there might be seeing different stats with regard to the exposure, but in California, the state exceeds those standards. And in doing so, as David outlined, we're far below those thresholds. Because of the standards set by South Coast Air Coast Quality, this gas station is more or less the state of the art in terms of its implications. So we felt very calm, we felt very secure that putting that gas station in a corner made all the sense in the world. It also distributes the parking and access with regard to getting gasoline in from the trucks, but we also had to develop a major entry portal off of Nason and off of Cactus. And in doing so, we worked very closely with, and what you see in front of you is a product of the transportation department here and our traffic engineers that show those points of access and egress. It wasn't done lightly. There was a great deal of discussion and study done of where to place those entries to best distribute the traffic. If you look at the traffic study, that's also included in the environmental study, you'll notice that the levels of traffic are being mitigated by this dispersing abilities with the different 4 access points to the site. It is intriguing to see that we have the ability to back the stalls up, actual parking for the drive-through effectively, and not have those cars back into the streets, which would block traffic. The impact of that traffic study indicated that we have to improve Cactus, widen it at the corner and all the way out to our stride. We have to improve the light, stop lighting that's there. We have to improve Nason. That's going to help the traffic even more so. So we mitigated that to make sure that the traffic impact did not impact the neighborhood. We're in the south end of the downtown district plan. So the impact of that, you've got millions of square feet planned for that downtown district. We're at the south end of this. So our ability to disperse traffic is a lot easier than if you're in the middle of downtown's specific plan. Along with that, as David outlined, some of the improvements that we're proposing and required, not only do we have a 20-foot landscaping strip on our property through all the way across Cactus and up and down Nason, the city also has a winding walkway and another 20 feet of landscaping off-site that Danny Simon has to pay to improve. So basically, there's almost a 40-foot wide landscaping strip on Nason with a meandering walkway. That's going to be pretty spectacular from our opinion. A lot of cities don't have that, so there's a great deal of landscaping. There's also a 20-foot landscape strip on site along Cactus. Again, these are benefits and improvements that we think will enhance that corner and that part of the neighborhood that's basically undeveloped. These improvements that help mitigate traffic, that help establish and embellish that neighborhood, will probably cost $2 million. That's a price that the landowner, Danny Salmon, will have to pay to make all the improvements required by the city and required by the on-site landscaping. Minimum $2 million. That's an investment he's ready to make in the community to make this project compatible with this neighborhood. Not a single family neighborhood, multi-residentials off to the east. Clearly we're in a commercial district across the street with a medical center. That's a pretty substantial investment, but more importantly, the outcome and the enhancement with regard to the landscaping and number of trees that are being planted on this site, it's going to be a very nice development, our opinion. Additionally, if you look at the environmental report, you will notice that every part of the environmental study shows less than significant impact to the neighborhood, which means that the impact, burrowing owls, and all the other things that supposedly may or may not occur there have been mitigated. They've been taken care of, or they're non-existent. So the environmental impact very clearly states this project has nominal, if any, impact with regard to that. On top of that, this project requires an MMPR, which is a mitigation monitoring program required by the city, that we have to mitigate and track all the things that if we do find something on site, there's a protocol to how to deal with that, literally stopping construction and doing anything. That's already been in place as part of the environmental approval and part of the package that Danny Simon's prepared to agree to do. So what you've done as a city, you've taken every step necessary and possible to ensure the fact that this project stands up to what it says in the environmental impact study, that the impacts are negligible and less than significant and can be mitigated easily with the recommendations that have been put forth in the conditions of approval. Like I said, this has been a project that's been on the books and working for 4.5 years. So we've been working very hard with all the different consultants, civil engineer, landscape, more importantly, ECOR, our environmental group, to mitigate everything. So when we did present this to you, the Planning Commission, we would hope that we'd give you a feel that these things have been mitigated, looked at nauseum, and make sure that there wasn't something we had missed. We believe that this project is extremely compatible and to the neighborhood, but more or less into the entire community. And more importantly, it's a project by right, meaning, obviously, as you know, the underlying zone allows all of these uses. The 3 uses that we have with regard to food require CUPs. Those conditions of approval will be coming from staff shortly. We'll see those. But our guess is that we've probably mitigated most of those because these are the current design standards that we're using throughout California. I know there's a lot of people that probably would like to speak towards this project. It would be our hope, and we would respectively request that you consider, as staff has said, approval of the resolutions that will allow this project to go forward. We're here obviously to answer your questions. There's a great deal of detail, and we'll go as deep as you'd like us to go with the consultants to answer any and all questions you and or staff and or the general public has about the project. But again, I believe at the end of the day, this project will be well received and be an enhancement to the city of San Marino, especially at that south end of the downtown
Valley.
plan. I'm sorry?
We're Moreno Valley.
Moreno Valley, sorry. Sorry. It's right behind you, Chair, Mr. Chair. Sorry about that. You get caught up in a moment. Sorry. Thank you for the correction. Anyway, we would hope that planning commissioners would consider staff recommendations with regard to approving the resolution to allow this project to go forward. And I think that's 3023 and 3033. So with your concurrence, and again, if there's any other questions and or information you need from us, we're here to answer all of them. Thank you again for allowing us to present this project to you. Again, thanks staff for all the effort, for all the departments that have played an immense role in getting us to this point in the project. So thank you.
Thank you.
Harris Shapiro with Rad Architectural Group. As Richard said, there's many positive things here that have already been stated.
Sir, can you please pull the mic down? Thank you.
Harris Shapiro with Red Architectural Group. I work with Richard, and as Richard said, there's many positive things that will be added to the community. I do want to bring up a couple things. There was a last-minute change to the 7-Eleven elevation. I brought multiple copies. I'll give these to Julia. I meant to try to give them to her beforehand, but here you go. So 7-Eleven had modified their design to be more current with their current corporate structure and design standards. We got them to modify the colors to be compatible with our color palette. So we believe that this new design is more in line with the rest of the shopping center and the office buildings. And, we were quite pleased to see the change. So I'm sorry it's not in the original packet, but it was a last-minute change. The other thing I wanted to point out is that in working with the traffic department, transportation, we went back and forth on several discussions regarding cactus. We ultimately came up with the final decision, which you see now on the architectural site plan, not the landscape, the pretty one. The architectural site plan with the alignment of cactus in the left turn pocket. That took probably 3 months of back and forth. There was a lot of angst, but we finally came to a conclusion on that, and everybody was quite happy. And again, thank you again. That's we're here to answer any additional questions.
Thank you. Are there any commissioner questions for the applicant?
I have one. For the 7-Eleven, typically 7-Elevens are just beer and wine. Is that going to be the consensus for this, or is it going to have full alcohol?
No, they will have only beer and wine, no spirits.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So these last-minute additions, that's cosmetic, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just changing the exterior facade. Instead of having that kind of diagonal stripe, they've done away with that, and now it's a little bit more contemporary. Fits in line with our overall design of the shopping center.
Okay.
What was the reason for changing it? I'm just a woman, so.
No.
I kinda like the other
change is
one.
good.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
it was a corporate decision. They introduced new materials in their design standards, and so unfortunately, the design change came a little bit too slow for us to incorporate into the package. But I kept on saying, get it to me, but it took a little bit longer. So I'm presenting it tonight.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'm going to open the public testimony, and the clerk will call upon each person who has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on a public hearing item, which there'll be a timer right next to you, so please be cognizant of the timer as you speak. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we currently have 10 speakers. Our first speaker is Denise Clem, followed by Summer Foster and Brian Foster.
Hi, my name is Denise Clem. I'm excited to be here. We live very close to the project on Lindley Lane. We were really excited about the new buildings and everything, the new businesses that are going to be very near our home. But the one thing that does concern us, or a couple things that concern us, one is the gas station and the health effects that could be, because we're less than a quarter of a mile from the gas station. And so we're concerned with how that's going to affect our homes. And we're not inside our houses 87% of the time. We're outside of our homes because we have fairly large pieces of property. And so we're outside a lot of the time, working on our property or just doing different things. Another concern that I have is the private road that we have. It's already showing a lot of stress cracks in the road. We're responsible for that street because it is a private road. So we're hoping to try and limit or somehow direct traffic a different direction from going down our street. We have a lot of small children and we see people speeding by now, trying to get around the light at the corner of Cactus, which I know doesn't really affected by this project, but we just want to minimize the additional traffic that's going to be coming down our street if at all possible. Maybe putting a speed bump to kind of slow down the traffic going through our street. It's just a short little street, but they can go through really fast. One concern that I have that hasn't really been brought up is how our property values will be affected by the fact that this gas station convenience store is so close to our properties. I think that's it's pretty well documented that those types of things will reduce our property values. So that's a big concern for us. And of course, the health issues have been talked about a lot, but it just seems, I mean, things that are acceptable. If you're the one that gets sick out of that million people, that's a little bit different impact. And we have people on our street that already have a lot of health issues. My husband has asthma. He already has respiratory issues. And some of these gasoline, they have a negative effect on respiratory. That is one of the things that need to be concerned about. So basically, I see my time is almost up. So those are the things that I'm concerned about, and I hope that you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Summer Foster.
Thank you for all of the information that was provided by the Building Commission. My comments still stand, so I would like to read my statement that was given to public record. I have worked as a nurse in cardiology for 12 years. I mention this because I feel I have the understanding and acknowledge the obvious medical and health concerns in living next to a gas station, many of which I will explain. My family has called Moreno Valley home since 1962. We have been active members of the community, as well as my husband, Brian Foster, a veteran of the Marine Corps. We have served together in our community as Moreno Valley Rotary Club members for many years. We have a 10-year-old son, Cannon, who I homeschooled due to severe asthma and allergies, bringing me to my concern. A gas station emits ground-level ozone that pollutes the air and soil. This ground-level ozone causes respiratory problems and damages crops, causing serious health and environmental issues. The California Air Resource Board indicates that there is 13 contaminants in gasoline, with benzene being the most toxic. Benzene is a known carcinogen, a substance that causes cancer, as well as kidney, brain, and respiratory damage. There is just a few concerns for our community. It is our city's responsibility to protect its community and the people that are involved, it being old, young, and vulnerable, especially in the sensitive ground used areas, such as medical facilities, daycares, and residential. I have received 30 signatures from workers and the residents of the integrated care communities, whom all oppose the placement of a gas station, most of which residents are oxygen dependent and have compromised immune system, just like my son. Any extra toxic overload will be detrimental to their health. Traffic also poses a concern for EMS and AMR delayed response time to and from hospital. With all these concerns and many others to consider, my question is this placement of a gas station in this particular area comparable? Is it a comparable fit for this location? Is the matter profit over well-being? We bought our home 22 years ago with the intentions to cultivate a healthy way of life. We have done so, and I would have never bought our home across the street from a gas station. Our intentions are to continue to create safe and healthy space for our son. I do not consent, nor do I support a placement of this gas station. The residents of Lindley are requesting speed bumps as well as no entrance and exit into Lindley. Possible monetary compensation for property loss. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Brian Foster, followed by John Clem and Tyler Clem.
Hello. My name is Brian Foster. I'm a U.S. Marine Corps Special Forces Scout Sniper and a 100% disabled veteran. I've also worked for our country's intelligence agencies. I have fought both in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. I still work with the VA to support our nation. I believe in our country and my city, Moreno Valley, where I've lived since 1987. I bought my house here in 2001 with my wife and now young son, where we raise animals and grow our own food. I'm excited to see the city working towards a brighter future. I'm asking the city to modify the proposed plan on Nason and Cactus. We do support it. I have spoke with the developer about the modifications. I understand that it is in his best financial interest to keep his current plan. Danny Simon, the developer, has been very friendly, and I appreciate his open communication about his intentions with the land. Since I turned this in, I actually spoke with him again last night. The modifications. Due to the economic and health issues, deny the permitted use of fueling stations, 24-hour businesses, alcohol sales on the corner of Cactus and Nason. Justification. The California Air Resource Board and the World Health Organization state that living in close proximity to a fueling station causes leukemia, cancer, kidney damage, respiratory issues, and much more. You can find the information on the California website. The gas station will be located within their stated proximity to our Riverside County Hospital, a senior citizens living center, a child daycare, a dialysis center, and cities homed for agriculture and animal husbandry. Justification number 2, economics. Homes within 1/4 of a petroleum fueling station sell for 16% less. The homes in this area, that would be over $100,000 for each house within a 1/4 mile. 3, California is stopping the selling of new gas-powered vehicles by 2035. In 2021, the city of Petaluma became the first California city to prohibit new petroleum fueling stations, followed by 4 other cities. At least 6 other cities are developing policies, including the city of Los Angeles. According to leading economic reports, petroleum stations will no longer be a profitable business in California. 4, traffic. Our emergency medical services unfortunately use this route daily, and response times are already delayed due to the traffic at this corner. 24-hour businesses, high traffic businesses will delay access to the county hospital, senior center, and dialysis center. And our homes, often in life-threatening situations where every second counts. Crime. I work with and have family members in local law enforcement. They are understaffed and forced to work overtime and cannot currently keep up with the crime in this area. According to the local law enforcement officers I have spoke with, these businesses would not be a good fit. The area is better fitted for medical offices, healthy eating options, and many other sustainable businesses. Let's work together to continue to make Moreno Valley a desirable.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Our next speaker is John Clem, followed by Tyler Clem and Spencer Gonzalez.
Hello, my name is John Clem, and I do oppose to mainly the gas station. I know this is Southern California, and they're going to build no matter what. But with the gas station, we disagree on that because of the impact of the environmental. Like my wife said, Denise, I do have asthma. You know, when they have fires around, it affects my lungs from the smoke and the air. I know with, gas station cars stopping and going and starting their engines, it's just going to create a lot more environmental impact. Where this gentleman over here said they didn't do a study on the distance of the gas stations. Is that right? Not getting that study and making sure it's okay? It doesn't seem like it would be. It seems like they would do a study to find out, if they could do that. Another thing I would agree on too, because we've been there for 20 years, and they've built houses on the south side of us, okay? People are hot riding up and down the road. They're taking our street for a shortcut so they don't have to hit the light on Nason and Cactus. So they race down our street. So if we could get some speed bumps to stop that, it would be very nice. But the main thing, you know, like my neighbor Summer and Brian and their son Cannon has issues with his respiratory, that he would be looked at too, as far as his health too. So I would thank you for listening to me, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tyler Clem, followed by Spencer Gonzalez and Oscar Gonzalez.
Hello, it's nice to see you guys. Yeah, I oppose this gas station. The building is, fine, what they're gonna build there, but a gas station that close, I feel like it can be placed somewhere further down Nason, away from our home. The reason that I do not want it there is the 24/7 lights that will be on, flooding our street, flooding our backyards, flooding our rooms in our house. The traffic that's going to be going up and down our street 24/7. It's even, my parents want to now move from their home that they've had for 20 years because of this. And, just understand where we're coming from and why we don't want it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Spencer Gonzalez, followed by Oscar Gonzalez and Michael Solorio.
Good evening. My name is Spencer Gonzalez. I'm a resident of Moreno Valley, and I'm glad to see a project like this in my city. I'm here to speak about livelihood. Today, I am fortunate to work close to home, so I feel the responsibility to speak for those who are still in traffic at this time, waiting to see their family, or even take a cold shower. With projects like this being built in our city, it'd be nice to see the contractor utilize a state-registered apprenticeship program who will guarantee skilled, quality, productivity, and above all, safety. It would be a great decision if utilized. With all that being said, I hope that you approve this project and many more to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Oscar Gonzalez, followed by Michael Solorio.
Hello, my name is Oscar Gonzalez. Been a resident of Moreno Valley for about 20 years now. Right now is the highest time I've seen so much stuff getting built. There's so much progress going on in the city, and it would just be nice to see you guys use responsible contractors with a good apprenticeship program that would give opportunities to all the people that work here and live here, just to be able to build their own city. Much of that wasn't available to me when I was in school, and now that I'm older, seeing like a lot of younger people getting involved, it's good to see them getting versus sticking to like stuff that's not very productive. This is gonna help them build their own communities and be proud of their surroundings. So I hope you guys can approve this project, and I'm going to send many more to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Michael Solorio, followed by Jaliente Cobbs, or Jaliente Cobbs. My apologies for the mispronunciation.
Hello, I'm Michael Solorio. Good evening, everyone. I'm actually going to represent Jacente Cobbs. That's my grandmother. Jacente Cobbs has been a resident since 1982 in the city of Moreno Valley. And there are some modifications that I am requesting to this project, only to ensure the health of my grandmother and my future generations that I plan to have with my wife. Number one is no petroleum fueling station. 2 is a no 24-hour businesses. 3 is no alcohol selling businesses. 4 is creating a speed bump installed on Lindley Lane to reduce the through traffic that is going to be going through our neighborhoods, because Nason and Cactus will be over congested with this new businesses. 5 is monetary compensation for loss of property value and well-being. 6, no entry points into the complex directly from Lindley Street. We're trying to propose like a cul-de-sac, try to really prevent that traffic from coming into our neighborhood and honestly putting our kids at danger. Lindley is a private road, and due to heavy congestion and delay in traffic, this street is now used as a daily through affair to avoid the traffic signal on Cactus and Nason. It is no longer safe for our children to play in front of our homes due to the speeding cars. We can't even imagine how bad it would be once there's an entry point from Lindley into a gas station. We already experience higher crime, and the selling of alcohol in 24-hour businesses will only aggravate this situation. There is overwhelming evidence on why a petroleum station is a bad fit for the surrounding community with both economic and health concerns. The homes directly connected to this project are zoned for agriculture and animal use. 24-hour businesses create 24-hour traffic, noise, and light that disturb both of our animals and our crops. Our city and community have spent a lot of time and money installing equestrian trails and an equestrian park that lead right up to the proposed build site. With the rise in crime and homelessness in this area, foot traffic from patients with mental and physical illnesses will have walking access to alcohol. We feel that the selling of alcohol next to our community and the Riverside County Hospital is not a good fit. We have plenty of alcohol selling restaurants, grocery stores, convenience stores, and gas stations located within 1.5 miles from this location, just north of us at the end of Nason. We already experience hospital patients wandering around, lost sometimes, screaming in pain around this area. A men's recovery home, many of which are recovering alcoholics, is also located on Damascus Road of where I live. Due to the July 4th weekend, we were unable to contact the Riverside County Hospital, Child Daycare, and Dallas Center, as many management level members were on vacation. We did find out that the Senior Citizen Center was not notified about these concerns. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Clarissa Sandoval, followed by Bet Reese.
Hello, my name is Clarissa Sandoval, and I oppose the gas station being built on the corner of Cactus and Nason. My family and I are residents on Lindley Lane, which is across the street from the new development. My main concern are my children. With this new gas station being built, it will increase the traffic on our private lane, which will no longer be private. There will be increased loitering and littering and increased crime, so we oppose the gas station being built across the street.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Yvette Reese, followed by Judy Beige.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yvette Ruiz, and I am here to oppose not the whole plan, but oppose the gas station. I am here with fellow neighbors from Anthony Place Street, and that's very close to our home. So let me tell you a little bit about my background and one of the reasons why I'm here. So I agree with the people. They've already mentioned about the health benefits. They've already mentioned most of the things that I agree with. I am here also representing my brother, who also lives on Anthony. So it's both of our houses on the same street, on the same side. We live next to each other. And our father came here, my father and my brothers came here and established himself in the 70s and in Moreno Valley. And since then, we're all born and raised in Moreno Valley. I plan to continue raising my 5 children, and we actively work on making this community a better place. My father worked tirelessly in this community. He passed away in 1999. One of the reasons he's in part responsible for why our street is named San Juan de los Lagos, the street where the city hall is, because he established a sister city with San Juan de los Lagos. So, and then there's also a street right here where the police station is named after him because of all of his activism in this community. The school district building in Moreno Valley also is named after him. And I am a teacher. I have brothers in construction and who are also developers, and we are not against development. We just don't want the gas station in the community. One of the main reasons is because I have 5 children and I don't want a business that sells, or a gas station especially, that runs 24 hours a day in my backyard. I have, like I said, 5 children. One of the 5 is autistic. When I went to get his studies done of why he was autistic, meaning it could have been genetic or environmental, they said it was environmental. So when I said, what is that? Well, it could be anything. And I don't want more toxins that can possibly affect my children or my grandchildren close to us. So I hope that you take this into consideration, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Judy Beige, followed by Dr. Catherine Sullivan.
Good evening. My name is Judy Bryce, and I also too live on Anthony. I've been there for 44 years though, but this project will back up to my backyard. The field is that they want to build this on is right behind my house. I don't care about the project, that's fine, just not the gas station. I have COPD, so I don't need a gas station there. Otherwise, and I agree with that man, 4 years ago, I did get a notice that they were gonna build behind me, and I was happy with that they were gonna get rid of the field, that I wouldn't have the dirt blowing on me. But like I said, not the gas station, anything but the gas station and that. But it'll back right up to my backyard with this project will, if they come that far back. I don't know how far back they're coming from Nason, but I'm on Anthony, which is 2 streets from Nason and that. So that's all, just no gas station. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last speaker is Dr. Catherine Sullivan.
Sure am glad a doctor is a closer. I know Danny Simon, and Danny is a great father, has 2 kids, a wife, and he's been like a brother to me the past year. Because what I want to do with a site is take one of the medical buildings and turn it into a family health center. We have 50,000 children in Moreno Valley, and we don't have one place for mothers and fathers to take their children. And so Danny offered me to look at one of the buildings, and I put my proposal over here. I can hear what the community's saying. I'm not sure about the gas station, but I am sure about this, that this community needs more doctors, and we need doctors for women, children, and families. And we need a safe place where they can go. This building that I'm proposing, that Danny offered to me, he said, you know, Dr. Sullivan, I'm not a physician. I'm a rehab services doctor. I deal with children with autism and asthma and seniors with stroke, veterans with head injury. You need me here. And we need the medical school to set up residency here, and this building could be used for that purpose. Now, what I hear from the community, which I know Danny's willing to talk to all of you, is what's the compromise that allows the project to go on so that we can take care of our children and that a doctor like me can come and take care of you. Because Danny's a good man, and he's got a lot of people he has to make happy, like these guys. And I think that's why we elected you, to try to figure out what's the best for all of us. Okay? So thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers?
No more speakers.
At this time, would the applicant like to provide any additional information?
Yes, thank you, David Slauson again. Just to address some of the concerns, I understand. I would be concerned too, and I would want to make sure that all the environmental impacts, including those regarding health, are properly addressed, that they're studied, and that's what's happened. We had greenhouse gas air quality and health risk assessment, all related to air quality. And we comply with all the city, state, federal requirements. I understand there was one comment about the open field, being an open field. Well, I know of one public agency being sued by a gentleman who has lung disease because too much sand was blowing off their property. So he's got a lawsuit against them. And I don't know where that'll go, but that may be just as bad or worse. I think the concern about health risk coming from the gas is overstated. And now they have this, such advanced vapor and liquid control and recovery technology that these gas stations are using. So they're much better. And there was also a comment about the changing environment, that maybe at 2035 we'll have fewer gas cars. Well, that works to the advantage because 7-Eleven will obviously have to adapt. They're a business. They'll adapt and they'll have fewer gas pumps, maybe more hydrogen and electric charging. There was discussion about the emergency vehicles. Well, we're going to add a couple lanes on Cactus. That's going to actually make it better, especially in the interim as the project slowly is developed. Discussion about the home values. And that may be true. There may be an effect on the value of the home, but you can't look at that in a vacuum, because also you have the fact that all this employment is occurring across the street, and even with this project, new employees, doctors, offices, whatever other professionals are there, they're going to need homes, and they're going to be looking for someplace local. The nurses, the technologists, respiratory therapists, all of them. So I think that's, it can go both ways. Question about the lighting, and we're required to do a lighting study, and the lights within the development will be, sited to go on site. There won't be off-site glow coming in from the site. Discussion of crime. That's always an issue with any business, especially retail businesses. I read a statistic recently where the home robberies actually are double what gas stations are and commercial buildings. It's just anecdotally, I guess maybe just happens more because there are a lot more homes. It may. But we have a condition that requires, if we have a problem at the restaurant, if there's a problem with security, the police department can require we add security at the restaurant. So there's an open dialogue, and I think the city does have some authority. I don't think the 7-Eleven is an attractor for visitors to get gas. People getting gas there are going to be on their way to work, on their way home, leaving the hospital, driving their family member to the hospital, picking them up. So it's not as though they're creating a lot of traffic. The other projects may, like the offices, but not the gas station. Let's see what else I have not addressed. Oh, just that 7-Eleven has made a lot of progress with regards to security. They have, even the one on Sunnymead Boulevard, I see they're much improved. They have just their management, radio, or the music they play, et cetera, and they have adequate employees, staffing. And I understand most of them have real-time digital video solutions now, so they're in contact with the police, and sound systems, and adequate staffing again. I think those were the major points that I heard. I'll try to answer any other questions you might have.
Thank you, appreciate it. Sean, we had a question for you. Are we still in a position in the agenda that we can ask questions for the applicant at this time?
Yes, you can still ask questions of the applicant, and I will want to note before we move into deliberation, there are 2 points that myself and the city attorney will want to chime in on before you close and go to deliberation tonight.
Okay, there were people, I have a question for you. There were people that had concerns with Lindy Lane. Would you be willing to put a speed bump there or a speed bump so they don't feel that people can just fly by?
Yes, maybe the city transportation engineer could address it better, but I think there was some discussion that the city couldn't require it, but I know Danny Simon did volunteer to do that, but maybe there's some other point.
Yes, we have a traffic calming program, which including placement speed hump, but we have to do a traffic study first to make sure it is justified and meet the federal standard.
What is that federal? I know there's a certain distance, right? A straightaway
Yeah,
distance?
their distance and speeding typically have to be certain speed. Say if the street is 25, if people drive at the 27, although they're speeding, yes, they're speeding, but we do not believe it's justified for speed bump. So typically it have to be 10 miles and above, say 25, average people drive 35, probably that's warranted for speed bump. Also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I take that that's after a traffic study is conducted.
Yeah, after traffic studies, we have a program, and the city has sufficient funding to support placement of speed hump.
But if this is considered a private street, aren't they allowed to install it? I mean, if it is a private street, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so would they still need to go through the city and do a traffic study?
We can talk to them about it because the safety standard. Also, we want to make sure the fire department, there are no major impact of emergency services, including fire and the police, even for the private street.
I would even go as far as to say if Danny Simon would be willing to repave the entire street, make it look brand new, and put speed bumps. Is that something that he would do?
That's certainly something I couldn't authorize.
No, I know you couldn't.
Said not out of my pocket.
Oh, good.
Okay. But again, that's a justifiable an outlay of funds as far as a traffic study is conducted.
Yeah, traffic study has to be conducted if it's a private street and the city cannot pay for it.
Ah.
Additionally, we cannot condition it.
Okay. All right. Okay. You have any other questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. I did want to mention Yvette Ruiz. I actually know Yvette. I know her dad. When he was around, he was a great man. But I know your dad was very was very big on growth of the city as well. So I did want to say that he was a great man, and that's why the street is named after him. So thank you, Yvette, for coming. I haven't seen her in many years. So, the wellness center, I'm really excited to see that we're already in discussions with what these buildings were going to be, because when I look at the buildings, there were spec buildings. Now, the development of these, there's been discussion on what kind of development. I know there were some gentlemen here talking about construction and apprenticeship. Do you know if Danny Simon has had any discussion about what kind of community benefits there will be during the construction, not just after?
I know there were some conditions that they weren't requirements, but they were recommendations to take advantage of the city's economic development programs, and that included outreach for local employment, et cetera. So it was more advisory.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to say that at this time, thank you all for your comments. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'd like to close the public testimony portion of our agenda. However, Sean,
Before you do that, we'd like, both the city attorney and I'd like to make 2 points.
Okay.
Go ahead, you can go first, and I'll cover the other one.
Good afternoon, and this is largely for the benefit of the public as well. As you all know, in consideration of the project, there are certain findings we need to look at under the given entitlements, which are listed in the resolutions attached to the agenda. And some of the issues that the residents raise, while understanding that they're concerning to them, just might not be within the purview of the Planning Commission, which I know you're well versed in. But certain things like economics of the project, may be better served in a different location. Some of those sorts of concepts are not necessarily within subject matter that the Planning Commission can consider. And I would just highlight for the public's benefit that it's the findings specifically that the Planning Commission needs to focus on to determine the approval or disapproval of the project.
Okay, thank you.
The second item that I just wanted to clarify for the commission, and I know we've talked about it previously, is our newer municipal code requirement relative to on-site, regarding to on-site security and a security plan. That is not in the conditions of approval expressly, but it is within our ordinance, and given the size of this site, they will need to provide a security plan for this center for city review and approval.
Thank you. So just in recap there, on-site security plan will be provided?
It is required per our municipal code.
Okay.
It does not have to be stated as a condition because it is a municipal code requirement.
Right. And then the other is just for public edification, is that there are just some things that are out of our realm to make decisions on. Right. Okay, got that. All right. At that time, then we'd like to close the public testimony portion of this meeting and move into deliberations. I'll go first.
By all means.
The East End, yes, we need development, absolutely, without a doubt. That area, it's kind of sparse. There's a lot of fields going up and down Nason. I like what I see so far. I do have the two concerns that I did have is a gas station. You got these beautiful buildings, building, gas station. And so I'm like, okay, how does that gas station get in there with all the doctors' buildings and office buildings and stuff like that? So I was a little, I get that maybe some fueling could take place on the east end of town because you have to go all the way out to the freeway. And then, of course, you have to go you have to go all the way out to Paris Boulevard in order to practically, yeah. And oh, that's right, Marina Beach and Alessandro, there's a Chevron right there. Yeah. So okay. So the other thing I was thinking also was the proximity of a 24-hour business running in close proximity to homes. Again, when I try to look at the legal findings to say, is that as the developer dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, and is there a legal ramification for me to say I'm going to say no to it? That's what I have to wrestle with, is that a property is out there, person buys the property, he follows all the laws and the rules that he's supposed to. And my preview, I got to find a way to say no to it. That's a justification that breaks some type of rule or law. I think it's a good project. I think it's needed in the area. Again, I'm digging into it because I would be concerned about a 24-hour business right next to me. I would be concerned about that. Those are my 2 cents.
Okay. That's the thing. We have up here as planning commissioners, we have to make sure that everything kind of like fits, and we can't just say, well, we want this, but we can't have that. A lot of people, we've had other projects in similar area where it's always the gas station. This one here has a variety of things, and they're kind of like spaced out, which I like because you don't have like a U shape or an L shape. You have them kind of variegated through the whole plan, and you have a lot of, as far as the 7-Eleven and the gas station, there's going to be 6 pumps, and in the future, who knows, they may be tapped and taken out of there if California keeps going the way it's going, the cars, and there's not going to be a need for it. They may go to an alternative fuel. As far as having something 24/7 there, you do have the hospital. You have 2 hospitals that are pretty close to there. And a lot of times when people get out of those hospitals, they either want to go and get gas. I mean, I know myself from personal experience when my husband was in the hospital and we got out and it was like 2 in the morning. I didn't realize that my gas tank was pretty low. And getting to that other gas station was like a nail biter for me, besides getting him out of the hospital. So sometimes it can be a convenience thing, and sometimes it can't. But having the hospital there, and that's going 24/7. You've got people going in and out. Some people find it a little convenient. We had to go all the way down to Iris and I believe over there by the college where they have the shopping center where we had to get something out that way. It was pretty far. But like I said, unless we can find a reason, a viable reason, why not to approve it? Except for just the gas station. It's like, people say everything's fine with the project, it's just the gas station. But I myself can't really find a viable reason as not to approve it. That's where I'm at with it.
That area across from the hospital is it's an open field, and we've said it time and time, and especially that corner right there, that area. It's going to be developed, and actually, when I first seen this proposal with the office buildings, I thought it was amazing because we need office space, we need medical buildings, and I think it's just the beginning. I think they're going to go catty corner eventually and start wanting to build on the other corner across from the hospital on Cactus and Nason, across from on catty corner. Lynn Lee, I see how frustrated you guys probably are with the traffic, with the new homes behind you. I don't know if it's going to add more traffic to your house. I do hope that if this project gets passed, that the owner, Danny Simon, will take care of you guys, at least do something about the speed bumps. And I know from experience in my neighborhood, we wanted to add speed bumps as well, and the city had to do a traffic study. And it still hasn't got done, and I haven't pushed it, but the couple people that were racing up and down the street, they're not there anymore, thank God. So everything's calmed down. As far as the gas station, it's a small gas station, and I wish we could just cherry pick things and say, oh, this and that. They are widening the street. Couple of drive-throughs. Probably one's going to be a Starbucks with the way I'm looking at it right now. I do hope that the developer is going to be talking to maybe some of these gentlemen and figure out a way to create a program, or that way our youth, our high school students could actually have an opportunity to start a career in construction. I've been in construction my whole life, and I tell you that the average age of the construction worker from 20 years ago was 32 years old, and now is 42. And the trades need viable opportunities for our youth. And this project, it's exactly the kind of project where our youth can get started. So I hope that if this project passes, that Danny and his team work with the right developers. As far as the security plan, I'm glad to hear that there is a security plan, that there will be security, hopefully maybe even 24 hours. I don't think it'll bring crime personally, because people need to stop and get gas, especially from a hospital. I've worked in hospitals most of my career, and I will tell you that most of the people that go there go to get coffee and maybe gas from a hospital. So that's how I feel about this project.
Okay. Any other comments, Commissioner? All right, do we have a motion and a second? Let me give it a shot. All right, I recommend that the planning, we recommend approval of resolution 2023-32 and 2023-33.
I second.
All right, the motion does carry. Do we have a staff wrap-up?
The action taken by the Planning Commission this evening is an appealable action. Any interested party that would like to file an appeal may do so within 10 days of this action. If an appeal is filed, it must be in writing and directed to the Community Development Director, stating the specific reasons for the appeal, along with the appeal filing fee. If any appeal is received, it will be agendized for a public hearing before the City Council.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item, which was originally item number 1. The applicant is requesting approval of the conditional use permit for an auto rental facility with the vehicle storage located at the existing Sunnymead Plaza Shopping Center in the specific Plan 204 Community Commercial Community Mixed Use District. Do you have a staff report?
The presentation will be made by Associate Planner Danielle Harper-Scott.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the Commission. Danielle Harper-Scott, Associate Planner. The project before you this evening is a request to consider a conditional use permit to allow an auto rental facility with vehicle storage within existing tenant space located at the Sunnymead Plaza Shopping Center. The proposed project site is located at 24905 Sunnymead Boulevard, situated on the south side of Sunnymead Boulevard and west of Paris Boulevard. The project site is located within specific Plan 204 Community Commercial Corridor Mixed Use District, which allows auto rental facilities subject to the granting of a conditional use permit. Surrounding land uses include commercial development to the north, east, west, and the Sunnymead Park to the south. The proposed project is located within Suite G of the Sunnymead Plaza Shopping Center and is currently vacant. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to allow for an auto rental facility with vehicle storage for 23 vehicles, which will be operated by Hertz Car Rental. Vehicles will be stored in the southern parking lot as shown highlighted in blue. The proposed vehicle storage parking spaces do not affect the overall parking requirements of the shopping center. Additionally, the vehicle storage spaces are screened by existing building to the north and by landscaping and fencing to the south. Proposed hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and will be closed on Sundays. Modifications to the existing building are not proposed as part of this proposal. The proposed project complies with Section 9.02.060 Conditional Use Permit and all applicable development standards of the Zoning Code. With the recommended conditions of approval, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve Resolution 2023-31 and thereby determine the conditional use permit is categorically exempt from CEQA as a Class 1 exemption, and approve the conditional use permit based on the recitals, evidence, and findings set forth in the resolution. This concludes staff's presentation. I am available for questions, and the applicant is also present.
Thank you. Are there any commissioner questions for staff? Excuse me. No? Oh, okay. Would the applicant like to provide some information or speak?
My name's Kristen Robinson, District Manager for Hertz. I just wanted to correct the time. I don't know how 10 to 6 got there, but it would actually be 8 to 5. And Saturdays would be 9 to 12. So I don't know if that matters, but I don't want to give you guys wrong info.
Okay, is that, all right, go.
Just
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm good. That was it.
That's it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was it.
To clarify for the commission real quick, there is no condition limiting hours. So that clarification doesn't change anything in terms of COAs.
Yeah, I was wondering if we had to change that as a typo.
We're
or
just
anything.
fine.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No? No?
Well, she's sitting down already.
No, go ahead.
Do you have any other, you went down too quick, girl.
I didn't know. I was like, what is the protocol? Okay, I'm ready.
You don't have any other operating facilities in the city at all, do you?
Right now we are inside of Moss Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Moss Brothers, Jeep Chrysler, because they're rebuilding the building next to it.
Okay, so you just kind of want to relocate over to this area?
No, we're actually gonna have two still.
Oh, so you'll
this would
have
be
it
the
at Moss
second.
and you'll have it here?
Yeah, but it would be under one location, but obviously we could maneuver fleet or anything we needed to do to make sure we're in compliance.
Okay, that was all I wanted to know.
And we have electric cars if anybody needs some.
She's talking business.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Okay.
Any other commissioner questions? Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to open the public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on the public hearing item. Do we have any public speakers?
No public speakers.
All right, and I take it the applicant doesn't want to provide any additional information before we move on, okay? All right, then I'll close the public testimony portion and move into deliberations.
No, I don't see an issue with it. You know, I actually didn't even know they had one at Moss, but I know they have Avis. But, yeah, I don't see a problem with it at all.
Yeah, I can't see any. I knew there was one at Moss. You take your Honda in there and get a rent-a-car. Right.
Good?
Okay. Anybody want a motion in a second there? No, it's not on that.
Yeah.
It's here,
Okay,
right there.
got it? Well, I'll just go to approve resolution number 2023-31.
Is that good, or do we have to add in PIN 23777?
No, I don't think so.
Just resolution 2023-30. All right, I'll second that. All right. The motion carries. Do we have a staff wrap-up?
The action taken by the Planning Commission this evening is an appealable action. Any interested party that would like to file an appeal may do so within 10 days of this action. If an appeal is filed, it must be in writing and directed to the Community Development Director, stating the specific reasons for the appeal along with the appeal filing fee. If any appeal is received, it will be agendized for a public hearing item before the City Council.
Thank you. All right, the last item on our agenda is the applicant is requesting approval of a plot plan to add one new building with the 12 residential units to the existing Tuscany Village apartment complex on approximately 4.10 acre site in the Corridor Mixed Use District. Do we have a staff report?
The presentation will be made by Associate Planner Gabriel Diaz.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. The applicant is requesting a plot plan for 12 new residential units at the existing Tuscany Village apartment complex. The project is located at the southeast corner of Delphinium Avenue and Paris Boulevard. The current zone is corridor mixed use, and the approximate size for the project is 4.1 acres. The project site is fully developed, as you can see from our aerial. The proposed 12 units will be developed on the northeast corner of the site where it's in red. It's kind of hard to see from here, but it is red. To the project site plan, the proposed building is being located on top of the existing parking area I think the red square is more visible on this slide. The first floor will be parking, and the second and third floors will be apartments. The project site has full access from the existing driveways off of Delphinium, and there's another on the easterly portion of the site off Delphinium, which is a secondary access and is exit only. The project as proposed requires 150 parking spaces per our municipal code standards. The project will provide 160 parking spaces consisting of 71 covered parking spaces and 81 uncovered parking spaces, 10 more than the minimum requirement. The project proposes a 3-story building with an approximate height of 45 feet. The building will provide a total of 4-bedroom apartments and 4 units, 1-bedroom apartments, 8 units, 2-bedroom apartments. The floor plan ranges from 795 square feet to 1,050 square feet. The proposed elevations present a Mediterranean influence architectural style, which is consistent with the existing apartment complex. The apartment building includes plaster, stone veneer, siding exteriors with architecture trim around the windows and window shutters. The patio balcony areas to break up the massing, add focal points to the buildings. Colors will be earth tone to match the existing apartment complex. The preliminary landscaping plan. There is mature landscaping throughout, as we've seen through our aerial photograph. The project has been designed and conditioned to meet the city's landscape standards. Environmentally, the project has been evaluated in compliance with the criteria set forth in the Environmental Quality Act and is categorically exempt from the provisions of CEQA as an infill development project class 32 exemption. Staff recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve plot plan PEN 22-0034 subject to the conditions of approval. There has been no public comments to report, and this concludes staff presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any commissioner questions for staff?
Did I see it's an entrance and then there's like an underground parking? Is that what it is? Or I thought it was gonna be garages, so that's like I haven't seen that design out here.
No, it's not common, and no, it's not underground. It's just
No, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not underground, but the whole first floor is like a
garage,
a
big
huge garage.
Yes.
That's interesting. Can you go back one slide? Yeah. No, you went back too far. That's the entrance right there. Is that so? The building's on top of this. Am I seeing that right?
That is correct.
That's interesting. You don't see that too often. Okay. And then there's stairs that go on both ends up to the apartment?
Yes. The north-south elevations is where the stairs are at.
So the parking's going to be open under there?
Yeah, it's an open, as you see it in the aerial. I mean, yeah, let's look at the aerial. On the right-hand side of the project, you see the current parking there. That's basically going to stay there, and the building's going to be built on top of that.
And is that opening adequate? Is there louvers on the other end to aerate that area? I mean, if there's cars, if there's multiple cars on with CO2.
It will have to meet our building department requirements, but it is open on the east and west side of the property.
Is it open on both sides?
Yes.
See, I can't even tell from.
Yeah, I can't tell either.
Gabriel, can you go back to the building elevations, please, sir?
Yeah, that one right there. Oh, okay. So is that where the stairs, is that open? Because I know the opening's there.
Right, that's
Oh, that's both sides. It's open. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
east and west.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Interesting.
It is different. It's not something we normally see.
I have seen it before in huge apartments, but not here.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool design. All right.
Does that building the parking or building on top of that parking, does that eliminate some of the parking that's already there?
That is correct. It's losing a total of 2 parking spaces.
Oh, 2. Oh.
So originally the site was way overparked.
Okay, right. I was going to ask that. So originally the site exceeded the minimum parking requirements for, so only 2?
And it still does.
By 10 spots. Okay.
Yeah, with this summer heat, man, you want that car in the shade.
Is there going to be on-site security to stop fighting for the underground parking?
I'm assuming the spaces are designated for that building, right? Or...
The applicant is here and can speak on that.
Because I'd park there. All right.
Thank you.
Any more questions for staff? Okay. Would the applicant like to speak?
My name is Elias Al-Fatah, and I'm the project designer. We don't have anything to add other than just thanking the planning department for all the help, actually. And we do agree with all the conditions of approval they provided. And if you have any questions, maybe I can answer.
I guess I would ask, what is the thought to add an additional building? Is it we're running out of tenants or?
We do have, I have the owner here, yes, there is a lot of demands for tenants actually on that corner. And we had the extra property and the extra parking spaces that we provided previously actually. So it's a good opportunity to just add to the project.
And did I hear that correctly? Like at least a unit or 2 are almost 1,100 square feet?
The 2-story one, yes. The 2-bedroom one, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom are
2 bed, 2 bath, 1,100 square
1,100 square feet, not including the probably about 100 and something square feet covered balconies.
Okay, wow.
And as my colleagues had asked previously, is the parking going to be for that structure itself?
The parking will be dedicated, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll now open the public testimony portion of our agenda. The clerk will call upon each person who has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on the public hearing item. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have one public speaker, Ray Blackard.
Ray. I knew he was coming as soon as he came through the door.
Yeah, exactly.
My apologies, Roy.
Roy Blocker.
How soon they forget.
Roy.
This project should be passed just as easy as one, I hope. But one thing, and I'd like to answer the chair's question, or at least chime in on mine, why these projects or why one building is coming up. It's called something like the free market. Supply and demand, we talk about unaffordable housing in this, and you probably heard some of my statements on that. But if you cut the supply of housing or you don't build it, you know what's going to happen to rents and the price of housing? It's going higher. And people cannot afford as it is. So that's one reason why this project should be passed. And since I wasn't able to be here on the first one, but it's kind of the same thing as you work with gas stations or anything else. These guys do their market research and that, and they're not putting money into projects that are going to lose money. They've done the research and said, you know what? There's a demand for a gas station or apartment complex or whatever comes on, and it's needed in there. And you know what? If it fails, it's their money that's going to go down the toilet. So they're going to be on top of it. So I'd kind of like to put that out there because I don't get to say this a lot when I'm talking. But that's part of the things you should study and learn how things work. Maybe we'll teach that back to teach that in school one day when we used to teach those kinds of things on that. But to address this, and I've been asked by some planning commissioners why I don't show up as much as I do here, and I was even talking to one of your reps that were in here and asking me why I didn't show up. Very simple reason is we should, and I don't know if we can put it on, if you guys have to put it on the agenda or we have to screw on the city council that just figures they can take 8 weeks off, but we need to go back to 7 o'clock at the planning commission meetings and the city council too, but I know that's not your deal. But as we know, we have a mainly commuter population out here. It's very difficult for the average person to get here at 6 o'clock on that. So I don't know if we got to make a motion here or in this meeting to put it on your agenda, or that's a possibility to be addressed. Has to be changed in the rules and procedures at the council. But I would say it would behoove you, and I think just for the, let's say, betterment and consideration of us 200,000 that are out there, we need to go back to 7 o'clock on the meetings.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers?
No other speakers.
Okay. Okay, at this time, I close the public testimony portion of the agenda and move into deliberations.
I think it's a great project. I think it's gonna fit. My mom actually lives very close to there, so I know exactly where that spot is. It'll look good.
Yeah, I believe that there's a need for it, and it was very innovative that you were going to, put the parking structure under the building. And maybe other developers will take a cue to that before they even build. But I think there is a demand for housing everywhere, and when you don't have it, it does drive up the prices. It's like anything else. So I'm for the project.
I'm quite sure other developers are actually going to come by and take a look at that. Yeah, that's something you see in the Los Angeles area, when you start going out towards the east. Yeah, it's nice that we're starting to build up on top, So, great job. All right. Oh. That's 35. Wait. There you go.
I gotta make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-35 and approve plot plan 2022-0034.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, the motion does carry. Do you have a staff wrap-up?
The action taken by the Planning Commission this evening is an appealable action. Any interested party that would like to file an appeal may do so within 10 days of this action. If an appeal is filed, it must be in writing and directed to the Community Development Director, stating the specific reasons for the appeal along with the appeal filing fee. If any appeal is received, it will be agendized for a public hearing before the City Council.
Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is other commissioner business, and at this time, we have no items. The next item on the agenda is staff comments. Do we have any staff comments?
No staff comments?
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is planning commissioner comments. Do we have any comments?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just hope we could get a little more people in here.
Yeah, I would say that, and I don't think that's on our preview or our scope of influence, but we do need to fill
Yeah.
some of these other chairs.
I was watching a program, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I gotta go.
All right, so then, at this time, the Planning Commission meeting is adjourned at 7:50 p.m. to our next regular meeting on July 27th at 6 p.m.